Hi guys, as we know, the Tories were deliberately avoiding to process asylum claims, knowing that if the backlog came down, they couldn't use immigration as a political tool. However, this resulted in hotels and other accommodation being booked to house people arriving in Britain. As space to keep asylum seekers grew more and more scarce, the Conservatives looked at other options like the baby Stockholm and disused military bases. However, one turned out to be a health hazard while the other was a health hazard and saw massive public opposition. You even had Tory MPs willing to rebel over the plans. Well, it seems neither a barge nor an RAF airbase will be used. Why? Well, because the new government is actually doing its job and processing claims. Have a listen to this.
Breaking news for you from the Home Office. They've made the decision to end plans to house asylum seekers at RAF Scampton. Now, this is the former Ministry of Defence site in Lincolnshire. It was, of course, enormously controversial. There'd been a lot of protests locally. They were planning to open the site from the autumn. It would have cost, according to the Home Office, £122 million by the end of its use in 2027. And they say that means the site no longer represents value for money. £60 million have been spent on the site already. So work to close the site will begin immediately, with the sale happening in line with the process for disposing of Crown land. The Home Office say that work is already being made, progress is already being made to clear the backlog of asylum cases, which they hope will save some £7.7 billion in costs over the next decade. We've got a quote from the Minister for Border Security and Asylum, Angela Eagle. She says that faster asylum processing, increased returns and tighter enforcement of immigration rules will reduce demand for accommodation like Scampton and save millions for the taxpayer as we drive forward work to clear the asylum backlog and strengthen our border security. But she goes on to say that we have also listened to community feedback and concerns about using the site for asylum accommodation, and it was something that the Labour Party in opposition were very, very opposed to when the Conservative government under Rishi Sunak announced these plans, alongside housing asylum seekers on the baby Stockholm, also housing them at a number of former RAF sites. But now the Home Office has said that they are ending these plans to house asylum seekers at RAF Scampton, the former MOD site in Lincolnshire, citing community feedback and concerns about it as one of the reasons, but also the cost, saying that opening it would have cost £122 million by the end of 2027. That site now is going to be closed. Work to close it will begin immediately, and it is going to be sold.
This is great news for the government. So it benefits the new Labour government in three ways. First of all, cost. So processing claims is much cheaper than keeping people in accommodation. And it shows the new government as being politically competent over the Tory chaos. So they're saying, look here, we're bringing down the cost of accommodation because we're processing claims, something that the Tories refused to do. And these expensive accommodation sites, like this one that you can see in your picture, we're going to end this. This is going to save money from, we're making a double saving here. We're saving money from not spending money on keeping people in it, but we're also going to clean up the site and sell it off so we can make some money out of that as well. So this is the proper approach to this. Process the claims so you don't need to put people in this sort of accommodation, and then sell off this accommodation if it's no longer useful to the government. It also takes the heat out of the issue of immigration, and you take a tool away from the likes of the Tories and Reform UK, because they are dependent on using immigration as a cudgel, as a stick to beat the government with. Now, hotels and this type of accommodation is extremely unpopular with the public. So the Labour government will no longer be picking fights with members of the public or organisations in these communities who are not happy to see asylum seekers accommodated there. So by closing these sites, by moving people out of hotels, processing the claims, you're building a better relationship with the community, and you're taking the sting out of the tail that the Tories and Reform UK are trying to use as a weapon against the government. So all round, I think this is a good approach. At least it seems to be on the surface. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.